What are today's top talent leaders doing to be different? That's the question we set out to answer at the Recruiting Innovation Summit. For 2 days, we podcasted live at the Chatterworks booth to ask the question, what are you doing different? This is the Talent Shift. Talk to us about RPO. So,
wait.
What?
He didn't even introduce himself.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, we got right into
we
it.
just started talking. Introduce yourself.
Let's do it. Yeah. So my name's Mike Sunderland. I am the global lead of talent intelligence at Hudson RPO. I've been doing people stuff around 12 years.
Love Hudson.
I've got a...
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you know about it? I'm just surprised anyone's even really heard of it.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Baker's dozen.
Oh my!
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so you two are RPO boys. You know your stuff.
Yeah.
If anyone who's mentioning our Baker's dozen, they're RPO boys. They know their stuff.
I know Elliot.
What? Oh, I know Elliot. Yeah, he comes to our office. It's great.
I was when Elliot was still a Connexa.
Yeah.
When I started, we didn't get chairs.
Yeah.
You had to earn your fucking chair.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
You mean literally?
Literally.
Oh no, you literally had to earn your chair. You were in like a bullpen.
And you would stand doing your cold calls.
When
or whatever.
I interviewed 3 times with
Yeah.
Connexa.
This
Twice,
is a real story, by the way.
My
Yeah.
manager didn't have like furniture. He had a folding table. I'm like, why am I coming to a company where my manager's gonna have a fold? He's like, well, I'll get it at some point. And like they literally had to earn their keep.
So I get the validity to it. I'm curious.
Right.
I want to ask you, good idea or bad idea? To me, bad idea. I don't like this, but I want your take.
I rejected the job twice.
Yeah.
The third time I took it, but I interviewed with Rudy Carson. And I fell in love with Rudy
The founder.
and Connexa, the
Gotcha.
founder.
Gotcha.
And it was fantastic. He and Elliot had split at that point,
Right.
and he had moved on. And
Rudy, if you didn't like Rudy, it was almost like something's
Yeah.
wrong. It's like a litmus
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with you
Yeah.
if you don't like Rudy.
Yeah.
If you don't like Rudy.
so I had a little desk and a chair
Yeah. Wow.
at some point.
Well, to just finish who I am. So again, people stuff for about 12 years. A third of that was agency. A third of that was corporate. Now I'm in my first RPO, which, as you know, is kind of this nice mix of corporate and the agency. I've got all the fancy certifications and educations, 2 master's degrees, the MBA, the master's in HR. I've got the SHRM SCP, the SBHR. I got all the Pokemon badges. I went out and I got them. And
you collected all
here
the
I am
man
ready to rock. Got to
Yeah.
catch them all. So, So the back to the question about what is RPO. It's fascinating, and y'all may know more than I do. Y'all sound like some experts here, but I always describe it as, if there's a spectrum, and it's hard without the visual in my hands here, right? But if there's a spectrum where, staffing's on one side, corporate's on the other side, we're about 3/4 of the way to corporate, I would say. We're literally a vendor, but most of our recruiters really act as corporate recruiters more than anything else. It sounds like your environment may have been more on that.
On-site or off-site?
Well, it's funny. It's
the mix.
changed,
Yeah.
right? It's changed post-COVID. I think
Right.
pre-COVID, what our CEO says is that we want to be where our clients are, right? So plan A, I would say, is they're on-site.
Right.
But a lot of times they're remote teams. So they'll either be remote or based out of a Hudson office. And
Do clients in general hold RPOs to a higher standard? A standard that they couldn't meet themselves?
then internally, then staffing.
Like, okay, we're going to go after the purple squirrel. The person that's worked at NASA,
Yeah.
knows Mandarin. Okay, all of that type of stuff.
Depends on the sales team
They
and what they sold.
they believe that's a month high,
Yeah.
right? But they're going to hold the RPO to a 2-week hire or 2-week candidate slate, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like what you just said. Usually by the time the solution is live and it's there, so much of this has been ironed out of like, what are the SLAs? What are the KPIs? I think even if it's high standards, I wouldn't say it's more standards because I think I think a lot of hiring managers and teams hold their corporate recruiters to pretty high standards these days of like,
They
hey,
should.
I don't care if the average time to fill 60 days, we want them in 30, right? So I think it's aggressive what they hold them to, but it's not higher than corporate, I would say. Maybe from the executive sponsor level, yes. They're like, hey, I see my bill. I see what I'm paying every month for the RPO services.
Right.
It's a pro and a con. I think a a reason a company might do an RPO is to control their costs, to understand that this is literally what I'm paying every month. There's no variation. It's like I'm getting invoiced every month for all my recruiting processes.
Right.
And that can be good, but in other ways, it makes it more visible, the cost per hire and things like that.
That's
so
right.
maybe from the executive standpoint, they are being a little more critical, I think, because we're a vendor, right? I mean, we want to say we're a partner. Everyone wants to be a partner, but we're on paper, you're a vendor.
Yeah, I've always felt, they do hold you to a higher standard.
Yeah.
But if they didn't and they treated you as if you were part of the company, those were the more successful relationships, at least that we held.
Yeah.
Where we hit the shitter is when the salesperson sold the world. Yeah. Like, we're going to bring it down to 2 weeks. We're going to do
48 hours.
We're going to have diverse slates every 3 fucking days. No, like we're still recruiters.
Yeah.
Like we're
job's still the job.
Yeah. And in many cases, at least at the time I was in, we were joining brands that, they were okay.
Yeah.
They needed us because they couldn't hold their own employees because it was that bad.
Well, I went through a period, or there was a period where RPO was internally, you'd keep the easy to hire positions
and flip the.
And you'd flip
that's how it was with us.
Okay, that's that
we got
period
this
where it's
shit
like
hard and
And for anyone who's listening who's not familiar with RPO, for context, when I'm walking around here and I say I would do work in RPO, 9.9 out of 10 people don't know what the RPO is really or whatnot. So, it's recruitment process outsourcing. And the way that I describe it is that, if you want help with on the role level, then staffing company may make sense for you, right? Like you just need these handful of roles, X, Y, Z. If you're trying to outsource an actual, either a department, a function, or maybe you have a very seasonal business where for a few months a year, there's going to be a big influx, you would outsource that aspect of it. But what makes it really interesting is that, and this is the most embarrassing question in the world. What was your name? I didn't get it. And, I can't think of Ryan. And Ryan's made some really good points here. Ryan and William. What's so interesting about RPO is that it's not in staffing. A sales guy's going to take the order, and if they're full desk, they'll execute it, or if they're half desk, they'll give it to recruit someone to fill it. In RPO, the sales team is going to come in and they're going to really model the entire future of this recruiting department. It's like they're going to work with an actual, I don't even know what we call them, some sort of solution architect or something like that.
Solutions architect.
Right. Some solutions person that's going to say, okay, you need 1,000 hires a year. That looks like we're going to have an account manager, one team lead, one diversity sourcer, a talent intelligence person. And we spend a lot of time to make a theory of, we think this is the team to execute this plan. But until it's tested, that solution could be totally wrong, right? And obviously we do a lot to make sure it's not wrong. And I'm sure every RPO does that. But it is then a fascinating situation where, okay, the whole thing's modeled. The client says, yes, that's great. We're going to buy it. We deploy that solution. And if that first part of the process was wrong, now we are executing something that's just misaligned or is not going to get it there, and we got to figure it all out. So it can be an interesting situation when it comes to actually executing it.
I get questions from the executive level of why.
Yeah.
And I'm basically one of my bits on that is, listen, do you want to keep up with the technology and process?
Yeah, big part of it.
Because do you want to actually keep up with that? If you want to keep up, you got to master it. So now it's not just keeping up. Do you want to master it?
Yes.
If you want to master it, then you have to invest in it, which is fine. If you believe that recruiting is a core competency of the company, some companies do, some companies don't.
Yeah.
But if you want to own it, you're going to have to invest in it to make it really good. Or you can work with, Hudson in this case, and basically y'all are experts in technology. Yeah. Y'all are experts in process. Y'all are always innovating because you've got thousands of clients.
Yeah.
So
We've had,
even if you're not innovating on one thing right now, you're learning.
We've also had relationships. You probably have the same. A company brings you in, you build it. It's a 3 to 5 year deal. They're scaling up as you're scaling down,
right? And
you're transitioning out.
Right.
That was one of the cells that we always had. And I spent a lot of time as a solutions architect there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and that's
a
probably the most difficult thing to do was, because it was real time. It was, okay,
we're going to now bring in 10 people. Well, now we got to reassign 5 people.
That's right.
Right? Because that's just how we did it. And eventually it crossed over.
Right.
And poof, we were gone.
Kind of like what William was getting at. Maybe day one, the RPO shows up with all of the mastery, right? But over time, now that internal team, they're starting to really observe and they learn.
Right.
And I hate to say it's the natural flow or process, but I mean, at some point, every company is going to, even if outsourcing some department or some function makes sense now, there's no reason it couldn't make sense to have it internal next year, right? So it's kind of just life and the natural life cycle at some point.
They are the human technology coming for the job of the recruiter. That's how I've always looked at it.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry.
You're alive?
Yeah, I'm alive.
Oh, my allergies in Vegas have been killing me. When I landed yesterday, I had to DoorDash some medicine and stuff over here and all that. I was worried about my talk tomorrow, being like, if I'm like this, it's done. It's over. It's over.
So, okay. So let's talk about a little bit about AI. What's your take right now?
This is the first I'm hearing about AI. What is AI?
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So your take, it's a snapshot because your take 6 months from now will be a completely different problem.
Oh, yeah.
But y'all's use and kind of where you feel like you're at on your journey, but also where your candidates, where you're seeing them. And the context of this is Jerry Crispin a couple of hours ago told us candidates are ahead of us in their adoption of AI and their use of AI in recruiting.
For like resume refinement and things,
Everything,
personalization, all that type of stuff. So they're ahead of us. So we have to catch up, maybe even get in front of them, but that's going to take a whole lot of change, et cetera.
Candidates don't have a legal team that has to review all these new AI tools that they want to use to get ahead of the game. Yeah.
Great point. Great point.
Yeah. It's really interesting. So just to paint a picture, right now we are recording this in a exhibition hall that is surrounded by, I think AI is a part of every single vendor.
If it's not, they shouldn't be here.
Here. And it's so fascinating. To me, the elephant lurking in the shadows of the room right now, kind of with AI, is that, all of the big AI players say that by the end of this year or very close to it, we're going to have actual autonomous employees, right? Maybe it's going to cost you $5,000 a month. Beats the hell out of a real employee though, right? In terms of like what it'll do.
Turns out they don't have breaks.
Exactly. They're doing all their data stuff at night and then just producing during the day, right? And, I look around at all these vendors. There's some really cool tools. We use multiple of the tools that are sitting around here.
Oh, cool.
And it's great, but where I empathize with all these tools is that, okay, you're pitching to an enterprise client. It's going to take you 6 months to implement that tool and go through the legal process and do all the modeling and kick it off. By the time you do that, these truly autonomous agents are going to be here, right? And it's like, what do all these vendors do at that point? Do they integrate that into their solution, or do they just compete with it and say it's not as good? But once these big, and this doesn't really directly answer your question, but I think every company in the world right now should be planning for, at some point, OpenAI is going to do a live stream and everyone's going to log in and they're going to blow your socks off with some amazing autonomous software developer agent, recruiting agent, whatever the agent is.
Right.
And companies are going to start buying it. And how do you start preparing for that and coming up with your workflows? So that's what I'm thinking about in general right now is like, and it's where I want my company to have kind of a strategic edge is that, we're doing a lot of work with automation and AI. And really we want part of the pitch to be, hey, don't go to the drawing board. We've already done the drawing board. Right? We've already trained this awesome agent, and then we would then use whatever these other things are, but it's going to have our knowledge bases and best practices. We're going to be able to integrate it, do all the API stuff and all that.
We see a lot of clients now building. In fact, Melissa from Ford told us they built their own OpenAI LLM for Ford.
Yeah, just for Ford. Yeah,
and it's Mach 5,
Mach 1.
That's what they call it.
That's what they call it. And so it's just theirs, just for Ford. So it's not shared the data. And I'm sure you knew this, but in ChatGPT, you can select to share your data
or not.
So
whether like the data's training on it, you mean?
No, to publicly back to.
Oh, so you make the custom GPT and then you can publish it.
Right.
Yeah.
So and I think all of them have this button, but basically you can share with a greater model so that everyone kind of learns, or you can keep it just for you and it learns you.
Well, let's coin an idea right now, right? This is kind of an RPO branded discussion, right? And, again, for anyone who's not familiar with RPO, there's a handful of types of engagement types we would use. There's what you would call enterprise RPO, maybe project RPO. And then what I've always felt RPO companies don't like to sell, which is recruiter on demand.
Right.
And there's probably a future, an argument where RPOs, it's not recruiter on demand anymore. It's RPA on demand, or it's like agent on demand.
Right.
And the reason you would go with like an RPO's autonomous recruiter is because of the training and the model, right?
That's right.
The argument is that, we'd have access to so much data. We would have done so much work. Whereas, there could be a future where things like OpenAPI and Gemini are your off-the-shelf products, but they need heavy customization to truly be badass, right?
100%.
And that's where the RPOs would roll up. So that's
Yeah,
one kind of vision.
why couldn't an RPO, or I mean, really any agency, but RPO specifically, have, instead of a 10-person recruiting team, have a 4-person recruiting team, and you have 3 or 4 agents running the process?
I mean,
I would trust that more than I
100%.
would a human recruiting team.
I would
Trust it now with the ability it has now over humans. That's just me.
I think, I can't remember which guest said it, but it's, they're not there to take your jobs. But if you're not learning AI,
I was with it, Melissa.
Yeah,
it was for them.
You're going to be you're going to be eliminated because of the recruiters that did learn AI.
I don't buy that narrative as much. I just want to say,
all right.
I think recruiters are being too optimistic when they say things like that. We had a gentleman from Ronstadt, Glenn, speak this morning, and I thought he gave a very good, likely vision of the future.
Right.
Again, is recruiting going away entirely in the next 2 years, or in the next 10 years? Very likely not. But are 100-person recruiting teams still going to be 100-person recruiting teams in 10 years? I think there's no way. Right? No. I mean, I think the debate now is that, are they 70-person teams in 10 years? Are they 50-person teams in 10 years? Or are they 30-person or 20-person teams in 10 years? Right. And nobody knows the answer to that.
No.
I think when people say, AI won't replace your job, I think they're being a little too optimistic, honestly, about it. Candidly, I think we should not be encouraging people to enter this field at this point. I mean, there's only going to be less openings per company at this type of thing.
That I agree with.
Yeah, I mean,
100% that
you haven't agreed with what he said all along? This is the first time you've agreed with
nothing
him?
at all until... No, I'm kidding.
And I'll make you agree with me even more with this kind of example here. But what is the standard recruitment, the staffing company playbook, right? You hire 10 college grads.
Right.
You put them in a call center with no desk, like you said, right? And they have to stand up, and you keep your favorite 3, right? And that's how it works. That whole process probably just won't exist in 5 years, right? Because we actually don't even need these grunt work cold callers calling into candidates. We have pin.com over there. That's just an autonomous sourcing agent that is doing all that for you.
Yeah.
I think one of the last, I'm lying. It's not the last thing I'm going to say. I'll rant as y'all want me here. I'll rant as y'all want me here, but I think every job, recruiting and HR included, it's going to be so much more about the strategy, because execution, done deal now, right? There's going to be an autonomous agent that will take your strategy, execute it perfectly, right? So it's like, that's where the value as us as humans, I think, is really going to lie, is that strategy angle long term.
Well, when we started outsourcing to India, this is back in the 90s, we outsourced a lot of tactical.
Yeah.
One of the things that India didn't learn during that period is they didn't learn strategy. Because we didn't outsource strategy to India.
Interesting.
Call centers and things like that. All this low-level tactical stuff, we kept strategy. So all the consulting, Bain and all the consulting firms, they would outsource all the tactical stuff to India because it was cheaper. And there's very smart people doing it. They didn't have to pay them as much. And oh, by the way, we kept strategy. And I think your advice on recruiting is very similar. It's like, you're always going to be in strategy.
Yeah. Until
you're not. Right. All right. Last question from me, and Ryan might have something else, but you're at Recruiting Innovation Summit. What do you want? What do you hope to learn, or what do you hope to get out of this conference?
Yeah, I said to someone earlier today, I've been doing this 12 years, and I feel like I'm pretty sharp about it. You two seem like you're pretty sharp about this. I always feel like I know a lot, and then I see certain people go up and they talk. I'm like, wow, I have never thought about that engine before, and I have never thought about that tactic before, right? So I think what I am getting out of it, and what I hope to continue to get out of it, is just those additional perspectives. I do consider myself pretty sharp, but within my narrow world of what I've seen and what I know, right? So I think it's just constantly being able to see how these other teams do it. But, anytime I'm looking at the content schedule, I'm not even looking at the title so much. I'm actually looking more so at who's doing it, right? because I want to see, is this a drastically different organization than mine? Do they recruit for drastically different roles than what I'm used to?
Right.
That's what I kind of want to hear and what I want to learn. So yeah, I I think it is just continuing to broaden horizons, learn those strategies and tactics that other companies are doing, and it just get really the pulse. To me, I think this is just a great place to talk to gentlemen like yourself, talk to anybody in this industry, and find out what is the pulse, what's changing in your company, does it mirror my experience, and really just get that senior level feel.
Drops Mike.
Walks off stage.
Yeah.